Hello, hello. We're finally back at it with all of the dudes here. A lot of things to, I guess, catch up on, not just for the podcast, but like, guys, I heard from your life in quite a while. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I could start with the really cheesy line of "How's the weather?" But I don't know where you guys want to go from here.
The
And George
weather,
is eating, so he's gonna make me hungry. So,
yeah, doing a
yep.
mukbang. That's what they call it, right? When you eat in front of a camera and you record yourself.
It's called
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's
Thomas. You'd
could be
know
a
the term
food
for this.
challenge. Mukbang is just a Korean term for like eating copious, like not copious amounts, but eating like in front of the camera and enjoying the food. But it has transformed into more of like eating a lot of food.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're diversifying
Yeah.
the content here. I think it's a good thing.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
but the word mukbang is Korean. Yeah.
yeah. This week mukbang,
A/B
next week.
testing a new podcast format.
Oh man. Too
Yeah,
meta, too meta.
we did have that one episode where we just talked about alcohol too. So we really like
We
diversifying
did. Yeah. Yeah.
topics, content, everything. So
Yeah.
we're really gonna be hitting a wide audience here.
Mm.
Um, but to answer your question, Thomas, the weather is fantastic. It's rainy, it's dark, it's gloomy. Allergies
Ah,
are
fantastic.
Dude, it's so bad. Like, I didn't realize this is my first time going to like an office, during allergy season. And dude, like everyone is fucking sneezing. People, I hear like the snort sound that everyone makes just to suck up mucus. It's just like
Ew.
Uh,
I don't know if just everyone in my office just has allergies, but it's like holy shit. Like
Uh-huh.
I feel good knowing that I'm not the only one who has to like sneeze every 10 minutes, even though I'm taking like all of the medicine possible. It's still just
Yeah.
it's such a rough life, man. And I can't believe that something like allergies, which is so common that people have, it's still there's not like a one tablet that like fully stops your allergies for the day. Like every single time I take some, like I've tried everything, it's always like half-ass, like doesn't always solve the
yeah,
problem.
it's the same for
Mm.
me. I have spring allergies as well, but ever since moving to Kuwait, it's not really a problem anymore for me, especially in the spring, because nothing grows there anyways, so spring doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Only fintech companies, they don't have trees there.
Yeah. Only fintech companies grow, but
Yeah.
definitely not allergic to that.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Meanwhile, in Thailand, it's just fucking hot, guys. It's like average degrees is like 40 degrees Celsius. So over 100 every day. It's burning. It's so bad that usually Thai people, they don't necessarily turn on like the AC all the time. But there's a lot of people turning the AC. And my teacher for Thai class, she was like, "Yeah, the government just like released a statement that they're gonna charge more for electricity in like this short period because everyone's turning on their AC and it's like more than they expected."
it's more than I expected. It's over 100 degrees.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
very hot.
So like
But
here.
to yeah. Oh, he ate that food and he was like, "Okay, I'm out.
okay,
He'll
I'm
come
back.
back. He'll come back."
Yeah.
Well,
Wait, Thomas, why don't you go to like the beach or something? Go have a nice little vacation.
so I live in more of the northern
Yeah.
Thailand, right? So Thailand is split. I mean, it is a lot of like stuff there, but I don't live near the beach. I don't live near that area. And even if it was the case, it would still be hot because it's humid in those
But
areas.
no, no, no. But what I'm saying is like, why don't you, George? I was just telling Thomas that like it's
Yeah.
100 degrees.
Yeah.
Go in Thailand, go to the beach or something. Like, what is it, Phuket?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Phuket.
that's
Phuket
it's
is
Russian
some, yeah.
town pretty much.
Yeah.
It's so Russian. There's so many Russians. It's
Yeah,
stupid
there's
there.
actually a lot of Russians in Thailand. Like it's
Yeah.
actually yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's gonna be other tourists that come in, but I've heard of quite a fair share of Russian here and there.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, go there, go to the beach. Like if it's 100 degrees, take your laptop, do a little work from home type of vibe where you're just chilling on like, I don't know, like one of those chairs on the beach. It's 100 degrees,
Wait,
got your
but
shades
but
on.
Errol, you're basically asking me like the same equivalent of why don't you just go to Miami right now? Like
I would go, dude, I might go to Miami. One of our mutual friends, Ahmed, he's in Miami right now. He literally just said
oh.
he's working from home and then, well, I guess not from home, but he's working from Miami. His cousin just reached out to him and was like, "Hey, I'm here. You want to pull up?" He's like, "Bet." So he's just like on the
Okay.
beach. going on boats. And honestly, like I'm like looking at the tickets and it's not that crazy. Just go to Miami for just a week, just kind of not just like party, but just like kind of chill, go to the beach a little bit, have some Cuban food. Right?
Yeah.
Live life a little bit,
No,
Tom.
I've never been to Miami.
Really?
Like, yeah, I was in the States for 3 years. Never got to go to Miami.
Oh.
Really?
Although it's like a
Wow.
Russian spot
That's
as well.
crazy.
There's so many Russians there.
Yeah. It's
They're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere, literally.
actually I haven't been to Miami either. Now I'm thinking about it. I've been to like
What?
I've been to,
Guys,
like,
what?
Orlando. I've been to Tampa.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
I honestly
I've been to
think-
Orlando and Miami. Yeah.
I think it's more like Miami has always been I've always saw it as like a spring break for college students vibe. You
Yeah,
know?
that could be quite accurate. I think
That's
you're
a-
nearer to the beachfront, right? Like that would be true. But there's things in Miami that like I feel like as a tourist, it's really cool to go to, right?
Like what?
So Miami has a lot of like culture related to like Cuba because it's literally right across, right? But at the time where you couldn't go to Cuba because of all these like sanctions and embargoes and everything,
Yeah.
basically a lot of like Cuban Americans live obviously in Florida, right? So I would say the top thing if I were to go back, and I think like no one would question this if they're from Miami, they would probably be like, yeah, he knows like what the fuck he's talking about, is to go to this one restaurant, this very famous Cuban restaurant called Versailles.
Yeah.
It's like a local, you eat that, you go there, you get like a Cubano or you get like fried plantains. Like you just get things that are Cuban, and the whole restaurant is Cuban, right? It's like super, super like top famous, I guess one of the top restaurants. It's not one of those high scale, like, oh, fine dining things. It's literally like a deli joint, but it is so like memorialized as like the one place probably in America that has pretty great Cuban cuisine because it's literally right there, right next to the place that's Cuba. Yeah. I think that I don't know if people would hate me for this. I feel like the other stuff like Key West, right? It's a little bit overrated. So you basically, if you go from like Miami, you're driving, you have to drive through this long ass like like I guess highway on the ocean. It's not ocean, but it's like highway that is just like on stilts. And that is the like Everglades, right? So you have to go through all of that, and like it's cool for the first like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not cool for like when you're driving on the same thing and you see the same thing for 1 hour. Like it's not, yeah. So I would say if you guys do go, if you ever want to go, if you really want to go to Key West, because I feel like okay, you go to Florida and you don't go there, it's like what the hell. But I would say the cooler, more fun experiences would definitely be like the cultural history sort of stuff. So certainly like Cuban culture. You should go to like some of those I guess I wouldn't call them zoos, but they have like crocodiles and alligators and stuff.
Oh,
Do
someone
like one of those, yeah, like go on those. I don't know what that boat is called, where it has like this giant fan thing in the back, and you just like go on the like the riverfront or whatever. Like that's stuff you got to do. That is cool. That is really fun.
I don't know about that one, man. I mean, listen, I know they have a big anaconda problem down there. I know they have a big alligator problem down there. I'm not trying to go in the, what is it, the swamplands and try to go.
Hey, listen, it's fun.
I would be scared to go there.
It's
I have
fun.
a friend.
It is fun.
I have a Russian friend who went kayaking in the wetlands, and there were a bunch of alligators. And this guy, this dumbass, he just like takes his like the paddle and he like pushes away the fucking alligator. Yeah, no, it just like pushes him. He like pushes against the alligator's like nose just to push him away. The alligator didn't do anything, but like you have to have some balls to do this. Kind of stupid if you ask me.
I like that is honestly like that's the worst way I can imagine dying, or one of the worst ways is like you're like kayaking and then the alligator just comes up, just chomps your ass. Because then they drag you down, they spin your neck, and then you're underwater, you're drowning, you can't breathe, and then it's fucking the alligator is just chomping at your neck. It's just no, like
My dude watching that Nat Geo like 24/7.
no, dude. I know how they do it, man. Because like they come out, and what they do is they bite you, and then they twist them like the entire bodies around to snap you. Imagine that, like underwater. Nah, dude. I can't. That I will never. Going back to what you said, Thomas, with like the little boat with like the fan in the back, whatever. I am.
Yeah.
That's also honestly that might be the one reason why I will never want to live in Florida, just because of that. I hate the fact that there's alligators everywhere, and you can occasionally even come across an anaconda. I hate that.
I've done it in GTA anyways. I don't need to do it in real life.
Yeah. Actually,
I think if you guys go there, I mean, if you don't want to do that, it's not in your comfort zone, then you don't have to. I just feel like it's one of the top 3 things that he did there. That's just all I'm gonna say.
Dude.
Like for sure.
Dude, I'm more of a Disney guy. I don't know about you, man. I'll go to Disney World. I'll go to Disney and then stay as far away from those swamplands.
Are you a Disney adult?
Dude, listen, I went there like last time was like maybe like 6, 7, maybe like honestly like maybe like more like 8+ years ago. But I love Disney and Universal Studios.
You don't like Six Flags?
I was like,
no,
really?
I've never been. I've never been to Six Flags.
Really? And you're from Jersey?
I know everyone says that. Everyone says that all the time. I just never been. Yeah.
Nah, dude, you gotta go to Six Flags. It's nice.
Yeah.
But when you compare it with like Disney and Universal Studios, I really don't like it nearly as much. So
why?
Because like it's very like cookie cutter. It's very simple. It's not very. It's just a
like they don't have as much theming. Is that what you're like not into? You like the theming?
I like the theming and I like the creativity that Disney and Universal Studios have. I like
the rides are really good at Six Flags.
That's what I hear. Yeah,
it's the best amusement park, but it's not the best place for me if I wanted to go. I guess I don't know what you call it, to like a theme park. It's not the place I would go to. I want to go somewhere a little more creative. Like I also like. I guess it is the theming too. Like I like the fact that like even though I don't love Harry Potter that much, I like the fact that you go to Universal Studios and they straight up just built the fucking Harry Potter town, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then you get your like butter beer and all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You can buy a wand for like $30 too, which is like actually.
I did.
Yeah, I did too. And like everyone has to do it. When I was a kid, but the fact that it's like $30 for literally a stick of wood is fucking crazy. But
it's not even wood. It's like a piece of plastic.
Piece of plastic. Yeah, even better.
Yeah.
I would never spend $30 on the piece of, I don't know, recycled plastic, maybe not even recycled plastic.
Listen, dude, you say that, but you are there in the fucking bridge in front of the castle. You're seeing fucking dragons and like goblins, and it's like,
real. They suck you in, George. It's kind of like, oh, you see, everyone has it, and you're like, okay, I'm here.
Hey guys,
I have $30, but you know what?
I have a Russian friend who collects them, who doesn't go to the theme park. He just has like 15 of those. I think his collection costs like, I don't know, close to $500.
Oh my gosh. Damn.
That is.
What do you guys think of by the way, interesting question. What do you guys think of those like collectible kind of toy items that then turn into at times a very profitable business? The reason why I ask is the same guy who collects the lands. He also has a collection of Legos, specifically Star Wars, and he told me a bit more about that whole market. It's actually incredible. It's so basically he buys those figures in Russia from the sets that have been discontinued. And then once they're discontinued, they go up in price a lot. And then in Russia, like people don't really know about those Lego pieces, how much they're actually worth, and he buys them for maybe like $20, which is a lot for this piece of plastic. But he can resell it for $300. And right now he has a collection worth around $25,000.
What?
Which is mind blowing. And also he finds sets which have been discontinued like recently, and then he goes to the Lego store and he like buys them. And that's also worth quite a lot. He resells it for a lot of money.
What?
It was incredible.
I'm disgusted in a sense how much markup Legos have made. I think when I was a kid, okay, when we were kids, I don't know if you guys played with Legos. I definitely did
Yep.
like a lot, and I didn't just play with like Legos as like, oh, let's just assemble it. I actually built sets. So
Yeah.
I remember that the cost of these sets weren't like cheap, but they weren't like super expensive. So for like a pretty medium-sized set, probably over like 1,000 pieces, it could be, maybe around maybe $100 like for a set, which I know it's a lot, but like that's just like imagine it's like you're building like maybe the I don't know Taj Mahal or something, right? Like they have that set all set up for you. Um, but now because of like the Lego movie and all these other promotional things that they did, right? I saw a huge markup. So like maybe for $100 you get a way smaller set now, and now the things that cost $100 are now exactly what George is saying, like even market price. You're talking about discontinue, which would be even higher than that, but like even the market price could be like $200 or 250, right? Like it's not uncommon now because it's just the norm. Like people see it as a premium product. Whereas it used to be like a cheaper product in the old days, right? Everyone had Legos when I was a kid. I feel like that was at least what I had an experience in. But now you don't even have like everyone has Legos. It's more like the rich kids have Legos, or rather the people that are like really into it. They have
Not
Legos.
even kids anymore. It's not even kids
Yeah,
anymore.
it's
It's like
yeah,
adults.
that's true.
Well,
They
that's
moved also more to adults, that's for sure.
because I've always
Yeah.
felt like Legos are so expensive. Like even as a kid, like my family, like
Yeah.
we couldn't afford to buy like a lot of the Legos. Like so I had a few of them.
Right.
But then
Mhm.
so I played around with it. But then even as a kid, I kind of had the thought that like I think Legos are meant to for like adults, like people with actual like
Yeah.
money. That's how I've always thought. And I never
Mhm.
understood it back then. And I still to this day don't really understand how these fucking like plastic pieces or Funko Pops is I think another big thing. Whatever it is.
Oh man, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a big thing.
I never understood the demand for that. I really I just can't comprehend it. Like I understand that some people are really into it, and like I'm not judging. Like congrat, like that's fucking fantastic. That's great, but I don't understand how so many people can enjoy it so much because it's just a piece of plastic for me. Like I really don't see the value. It's the same with like Pokemon cards too. It just doesn't.
What? Bro, this is all my childhood, like in a nutshell.
You know
Yeah.
what, guys? I think
Yeah.
throughout this COVID pandemic, people discovered the joy of like having a hobby,
Mm,
and
Yeah.
that led to a lot of things being inflated in price. Where like, the
Mhm.
average Joe like wouldn't maybe be interested in a lot of things. Like, you just go to work. You wouldn't have time for hobbies because of COVID. Everyone suddenly has like 15 of those, and it means that things like Legos, the more niche stuff, are becoming mainstream.
that's
I
a very
I
good point.
really think it became mainstream before COVID though. I think that movie and then the subsequent movies that followed afterward, like
I mean,
they just like rose
sure,
price overnight. Yeah.
yeah, but I think after COVID, it like really became expensive. Where like you couldn't find some sets, like people would just buy them out in like the first day of the release. It wasn't like
Mhm.
this with Legos, It's not like a Louis Vuitton, like a Gucci kind of item.
Yeah.
So
But
you know,
Now,
I feel like this is also like kind of hurting the kids who want to play with it as well. Because if a
I
new set
definitely
was
feel
just
that.
right, if a new set was just released, I mean, I feel like there's so many adults who now are just like, they have like these web scrapers up, they're ready to go as soon as it drops, just to buy as many as possible so that they can resell it. And I feel like that's like an actual thing that's happening. And I mean, if you want to take it one step further, I know like my brother plays what's that one game called? A Magic the Gathering. And something
Mhm.
that he was telling me as well was there was a lot of these like card packs that people buy
Yep.
and that they never open because they want to resell it like 5, 6,
Yeah.
7 years later. And
Yeah.
that's also like I feel like this like new I kind of have to agree with George a little bit more in terms of like the hobbies that came out from COVID because I feel like now there's so
Mhm.
many who aren't playing the games, who aren't playing with Legos, who aren't actually, like having fun with it, but instead just turn it into a business. And I think I don't know, I think that's a little bit sad. Like I'd rather somebody, wants to buy some type of I don't want to say toy because I think that's a little bit disrespectful, but I don't want to have somebody buy it just for the sake of making money. It's just I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me, and that's why like, I've never gotten into this entire business at a whole. It's just I don't understand it. I don't like it. It's just, yeah.
I feel like for Legos specifically, I mean, maybe it's just because I mean I'm a very introverted, I was a very shy kid when I was like growing up. And I look at like Legos in a sense, they kind of obviously, help you with creativity. I think a lot of people like just default to, oh, and like screens now. Like why buy a Lego set where it's finite? Whereas I could just get an iPhone for my kid or whatever, and like they have millions upon trillions of games, right?
Yeah.
But I think there is like something to be said that like at least the heart of the games or what is the joy about Legos is not just like assembling the instructions. I think there is a whole like thing of that. For a kid, it's like you have infinite ability to build anything you want out of these things, right? That feels like, for me at least, that has been lost because everybody kind of is gravitating to Legos as like complete sets or whatever. I still remember that the most fun version of Legos is when you have like you go to a play date with your friend, like a when you guys are 5 years old, some dude keep like brings out a box of unsorted
Oh yeah.
Legos and you guys just start building like random shit. You know what I mean? Like that was fun, but I think that is a dying like breed because it's not as polished and it's not as nice to like have these random things all jumbled up together. So I feel like those Lego piles, if you will, are no longer like in people's homes. They're
What
just
is cool though
gone.
is like the creative, I don't know what they call them. I think they call them like creative sets, but basically they have people
Yeah,
like design a Lego set and then it becomes
yeah.
part of the actual production like level. Like they have boxes and they usually give those things. You can even buy them as well. Which is interesting. But also there's like a whole ecosystem around Legos. Like there's actually quite a lot of startups that work with Legos. For example, there's this one company that I met the founder in Georgia once. He used to work for Yandex, and he created a company which basically allows you to just throw like all of the spare pieces that you have onto the floor, and then you put your phone, and then it uses I think some sort of AI or like some sort of um, um, well, like machine vision, where basically it's able to identify the pieces and then create like a guide for you to build something. And then other people can contribute in a form of like having new ideas of what you can build with spare pieces. And then you post your pieces onto it. It's kind of like a social media app as well. And they raised like $2 million at an $8 million valuation, and the guy was like looking for more fundraising. Apparently, it was doing really well in China. They had like 100,000
Mm,
users just in China alone. So, which
mm.
is interesting. I don't know if you've heard other projects related to like the Lego ecosystem.
No.
I mean, the Lego ecosystem is huge, guys. Like, I don't know if you guys know too much. It's just like Legos probably started my ability to code because Legos for every kid, there's like a subsection for robotics that like literally anybody
Oh,
that
did you
goes into
have that
robotics.
robot? You had this the one that you had
So
to
they call it
program.
Lego Mindstorm, where you pretty much have like all these motors. You have this giant box, which is basically a microcontroller, and you connect all your Legos together and you start doing things. I remember going to like literally a Lego Mindstorm club before I even thought I even liked programming. And people were making like little robots here and there, right? With these seemingly simple parts. Uh, it's kind of like a precursor. I kind of look at it with like not fond memory because I think it was like so overwhelming for me. But I wouldn't be surprised like when you look at it from that point of view, a lot of even engineers that you work with, if they were our age in the US and had like I guess a pretty privileged background or at least a childhood that's not like poor. Not saying you're poor, Errol. Just like
Continue.
yeah, like like it's not uncommon from what I hear that people have used Lego Mindstorms. I certainly did when I was a kid, and like that, like you can program literally things, and then you put it on your Lego Mindstorm, and it does whatever you set it out to do. And then that transformed into they have full like grade school competitions for robotics. They're using that, and then you upgrade. By the time I went to high school, to something called first competition, where it's like using a whole different system, but the mechanics and everything is kind of still the same.
Yeah, my school just did not have that. I think because most people weren't even into engineering. Like I was like
Mm.
I think the amount of like software engineers or people who wanted to go into tech was
Yeah.
extremely it was extremely minuscule. Um, and I don't think it was just like, necessarily because it was like a bad school, but it was just like the interests weren't there. Like we had a lot of people who were like into like politics and shit. And that's why I guess like I've never got exposed to, like, I don't think we even had a robotics club. We didn't even have any clubs for tech, honestly. And I mean, yeah, it's just the way it was, but I was never into it. But I feel like if I had a school who was like really into robotics and engineering, I think I definitely would have gone into it. And like what you're saying with like Lego Mindstorm, right? That
Yeah.
honestly is like, I mean, that's pretty fucking cool. Like I kind of want to introduce
Yeah.
like my kids one day to that too. Just to really get them into like not just like only building Legos, but also like whatever the next, big thing in the Lego ecosystem is, whether it comes from
Yeah.
like tech or something.
But the crazy thing is, it's going to cost an arm and a leg by the time you have kids. It already costs a lot. It hurts, but I'm saying like it's just so expensive now. It's crazy.
Thomas, that's why we got to make money, man. We need money to afford
Fair,
Legos in the future.
fair point. Fair point.
Actually,
We
but
have around 3-ish minutes left. George, I think something happened to his internet. Is there anything else that we should discuss for this week, Errol? I think we have we have time for one last topic if we want to.
one last topic. Well, I'm actually curious.
Or we can continue talking. It's like whatever. Yeah.
Okay? I'm just wondering. In these 3 minutes, can you tell me how's the startup going?
Oh, for my startup?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so I did my release and I already got some feedback. I think the thing that I made was still like kind of a work in progress. So I kind of realized we needed to shift direction on the team side, and my whole team is very much behind this. Where we're going to make it more visual, much more interactive, much more useful in a sense. We just finished compiling our designs for the next version. It is so much better than our current version, but we're moving along, I think it's going to be much better the next coming version. It has like a lot more than what we have right now, and it has a lot more things that are hopefully more intuitive, because we thought a lot about UX for the past week. Like every day it was just UX stuff.
Yeah, I feel like an app like yours, it's the UX is the first and foremost thing that it should be important, because at the end of the day, like I don't
Yeah.
think you're doing anything like wild in terms of like full on like AI. Like it's at the end of the day, it's an app that you want people to fully and easily understand, and I think that's such
Yeah.
an important aspect just to your entire app. So yeah, I would spend like as much
Yeah.
time as possible for that, and I mean, do you have anyone else doing the UX with you? Because I know you're
I
a
have
best UI UX designer, but
Yeah, I have Molly, and she has, really stepped up in figuring out how to use not only Figma, but how to like use good design principles. So we've been having like pretty decent debates about like, oh, this needs to be here, or this placement needs to be here, right? So it's been pretty good. I think it's very hard to find like designers that, how do I phrase this? Like there's a lot of great designers out there, but it takes time to get to the same like point of language. So it's good that, my team right now, we have me and Molly, we're kind of at the same thinking process. We have the same sort of ideation. So yeah, but I don't know. I think if you're asking me like, how do you make sure you have good design and stuff, there's a lot of that. I have a Discord that is like design oriented. So I go and talk with people there for design advice and all of these things, but they have like a varying degree of experience. It's not like, oh, everyone's more pro than me or whatever.
though that's
Yeah.
good. You want more diversity. You don't want like just like one or two people from Microsoft telling you, or not Microsoft, but just like Google or whatever. Like you don't want like two of like the best designers in the world telling you everything. I think it's good to get like a wide range of opinions for that. And more diversity.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll figure it out. I think that's good. I can give more information after this, but yeah, it's good.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Well, we're running low on time here. This was a good call. It's great that
Yeah.
we finally got back together after, decades of time.
Yeah. So
Um,
next week, hopefully we have the same thing, we can have everyone. So
oh, we will.
yeah.
Yes. But yes, thank you for everyone listening in. Have
Yep.
a good one.
Have a nice week. Yep. See
Stay
you guys.
winning.